Space. It's really, really empty. Every star in sight is thousands of light years away. Searching for something specific in this vast nothingness is like trying to find a space needle in a space haystack. But that doesn't stop this brave young woman. Her name is Turnip, a space explorer. During one of her excursions, Turnip found this mysterious orb from another world. Aboard her vessel, the Dorito, she's been traveling from system to system, looking for the orb's origin. After years of exploring, mapping and backtracking, she had finally reached her destination, an ominous-looking planet. Turnip decides to scan the planet thoroughly first, analyzing the atmosphere and looking for signs of life, radio signals and, most importantly, pathogens. Turnip is a tough lady, but she's absolutely terrified of germs. Unfortunately, the planet below appears to be hella nasty, with germs in every nook and cranny. This distresses Turnip greatly, but she has come prepared. She's brought her trusty hand sanitizer, an extra pair of rubber gloves, and her shotgun, which fires a strong disinfectant. After expertly landing the ship and, reluctantly, setting foot on the surface, Turnip's orb starts to glow and shows a picture of a strange pillar-like object, kinda like the one over there. Okay, let me just explain what's going on here. I'm making this story up as I go. I was desperately looking for a hook to start the story with. It didn't really work out that well, and I could have cut this from the recap video, but this is the full AQQ experience with all its flaws and quirks, okay? Anyway, oh, the pillar suddenly changes color, and so does the orb. How remarkable! Turnip, intrigued by the orb's abnormal behavior, stares deeply into the orb. In return, the orb deeply scans Turnip's face. While it's unclear what the orb was looking for, what it found must have upset it, because it suddenly changes both in shape and color and starts to emit this ear-wrenching siren. Not just that, but the whole planet seems to agree with it, with the sky changing color as well and the siren seemingly coming from the ground itself. After a while, the alarm ceases and a chilling silence fills the air. Then, a thin tower-like structure rises in the distance. Turnip decides to stand perfectly still, waiting for it to make its first move. The tower, reaching about 500 meters in the sky, starts searching the area with a bright red beam of light. Upon finally reaching Turnip, who doesn't move a muscle, the beam narrows down on her face, after which it shuts off and the tower retracts back into the ground. Another moment of silence, disrupted by the sound of twigs breaking and trees bending. Out of the corner of her eye, Turnip spots two thin but monstrously long legs moving effortlessly through the tree line to her right. Before she has a chance to react, a thin black tendril shoots out of the darkness towards her. Turnip tries to dodge it by performing the classic serpentine maneuver. Unfortunately, this does not affect the tendril, which continues rushing towards Turnip. It's dark. Very dark. A black void surrounds Turnip like a cold, sinister blanket. She opens her eyes. Still pretty dark. Turnip finds herself lying on a cold, smooth surface. She feels woozy at first, but is instantly awoken by the burning, aching sensation on the back of her head. It itches a little. Turnip's arm! What happened to it? It's all bent and grotesque. And are those claws? Without a moment of hesitation, she reaches for her hand sanitizer and starts vigorously rubbing it on her freak show of an appendage. Ah, that feels better. Now, this seems bad, but that's because it's pretty bad. Whilst Turnip mourns over the loss of her second favorite arm, a door opens behind her and a tall, strange creature walks in. It addresses Turnip, not with speech, but with telepathic communication. It wonders what happened to her arm. Turnip, who is having none of it, tells the creature to back off if it wishes not to meet the same fate as old Lefty. The creature, seemingly unimpressed by her threats, explains that her arm changing was a part of a decontamination process, cleaning her body of any harmful substances. Her arm was deemed contaminated and therefore replaced with a new one. If the process were to be allowed to complete, the arm would be replaced along with every other cell in Turnip's apparently disease-ridden body. Whether it's upon realizing that the odds are not in her favor today, or because the thought of her body being one big germ tank was too much for her to handle, Turnip decides to go through with the procedure. She lays back down on the table and closes her eyes. The burning sensation returns to the back of her head, but twice as strong. It feels like tiny bugs are crawling under her skin, spreading from her neck all over her body. She's never felt more uncomfortable in her whole life. But she persists. Like the creature promised, her freaky arm grows back, she tries not to look at it, and in a few minutes, her body is fully converted into a form that she no longer recognizes. Her skin is dark and smooth as silk. Not bad. Her legs are thin but strong. Okay. And her hair... oh no, her hair. Her hair's gone. All of the drastic changes her body has gone through, and that's the one thing she cannot cope with. No, this was a mistake. She can't live like this. Sanitation eradication! Sanitation eradication! Now, I could have easily stepped in and prevented the stream from ending 2 hours earlier. However, a questionable quest is not about happy endings, it's about making decisions. In this case, everyone knew the outcome and the majority still chose death. And that's fine. You can't have an adventure without taking a risk once in a while. And this is how Turnip's story ends. So, what do you guys want to do now? Huh? You're wondering what happened to the creature? Well, let's see. After witnessing Turnip's breakdown, literally, he packs up and takes the train home. Then he arrives at his house, he goes upstairs and he finds his wife in bed with his best friend! But that's okay though, because polyamorous relationships are pretty normal in this alien society. The end.